Hey everybody. So we're going to go over some mobility drills today. So I want to start with first explaining what mobility is. When you think of mobility, it's a combination of flexibility, which is like, think of your end range, in any position, and strength within that range combined. So you can have people who are incredibly flexible, meaning, the range of motion throughout their joints and then spine is amazing, but they don't have strength or control within that range. They're kind of floppy, flexible. So it's essentially useless. And then you have people who are incredibly strong, but they have very limited range. So it's kind of a dead end to have that strength when you really can't utilize it through a range that would give you any sort of advantage. So you really want to be able to marry the two, and that is what mobility is. We're going to cover lower body today. But when I say lower body, there's always this connection to the upper body. And then when I cover the upper body, it'll be the same thing. There's always this connection to the lower body. So you're going to see some overlap. So I have a warm-up to start with, and I would tell you every time that you run into issues with any of the exercises I show you for mobility, come back to this general warm-up. And the warm-up is super simple. It's going to have some static hold position. It's going to have just a little bit of movement, and it's super basic. But I tell you, come back to this. You really want to be able to have an ease in just the most basic movements. And isn't that truly what mastery is this incredible competence in just the basics. So 3 exercises. First one's a cat-cow. So my movement is just generally warming up the spine. My shoulders are over the wrists, my knees are underneath the hips, my hands are shoulder width apart, and my knees are hip width apart. On the inhale, I always start from the mid-body. There's a melting down of the spine in the lumbar region, and then that moves to the mid-back and then to the shoulders. So the arms will insert more deeply into the socket, and you'll feel the shoulder blades come closer together on the back. You're going to gently lift the chin up, no strain on the neck whatsoever. Then on the exhale, it's just the reverse. You again start from the mid-body. You're going to be drawing up, moving up into the mid-body and the upper back, and then at the end, allowing the chin to move toward the chest. And you just repeat with a nice long breath, in and out through the nose. Big inhale, melt in the lumbar, moving through the thoracic, all the way up to the cervical spine, gentle lift of the chin, and then the reverse. And you really can't do enough of these. Just nice and slow, ease. You want to just feel a connection to all parts of your back. So that would be the first exercise. Second would be just a simple lunge. Back knee is going to be on the floor. You're really trying to stretch the groin in the front leg, and then all the hip flexors on the back leg. You can let the knee move forward out over the toes of the front leg. You can press down firmly through the top of the back foot. And then you'd switch. Gentle, easy breaths. There's really no specific time you have to stay here. You can be 5 breaths, 10 breaths. 10 breaths is, I'd say probably pretty typical. And you can cycle through these multiple times. And the last one's going to be child's pose. Now this one's going to be with thighs together. So flat feet. I walk the hands out. I keep the hips down to the heels as much as I can. So I'm not trying to move forward and lift off the heels. I keep them down. And then I stretch as much as I can through the upper body. So relax your head down. Don't worry if your head doesn't touch the floor. You're going to lift the shoulders up, crawl the hands out, and let the hips settle down to the heels. Then you can cycle back through. You can work more of the cat-cow movement. You can do a few more of the lunges, and you can do a few more of the child's pose. You just feel generally just warmed up. Then you're kind of ready for the mobility drills. So the first one, and when we talk about lower body mobility, what we are talking about overall in general is the ability to draw in upper body to the thighs. Think of this as compression. So it's either bringing the legs to the upper body down to the legs. You're really trying to do that. It's not necessarily even with straight legs. Bent knees is really where you start. So the way this gets warmed into is just this gentle rocky motion. You can see I'm holding my shins. I draw the knees up. I just rock back and come up. When I come up, pull your heels in and settle your chest as close as you can to your thighs. So you can pause here for a little stretch. Then you'd rock back, come up, pull the heels in, chest toward the thighs. When I rock back, I'm not rocking on the neck at all. I really just kind of come to the tops of the shoulders and then right back in and stretch. So this would be the first variation. If this is super easy, you don't even have to start with this one, but this is a good place to start. Second option would be, as I rock back, tuck a leg under, plant the knee, and then I come forward here. Heel on the floor, chest into the thigh. Come back, do the opposite. Here, chest into the thigh. Do this little pause here. Get this used to this compression of chest into the thigh. Then the last option would be to come to a full squat. You'd rock back, and you come to a squat. So here, my knees are apart, so my upper body can actually come in between the thighs. If you're like this, you're gonna just fall right back. So you have to have the ability to compress and actually come between the legs. So as I rock up, I'm here. My feet are really just outside the hips, knees out over the feet, and I'm in here. And you can pause here. Ground the heels down. Again, this is the third variation, so if this is too much, you feel it too much in the back, come back to your warm-ups, come back to the previous variations. All right, so think of these as rock up and back. Next, cross-legged. So the cross-leg position, and we'll do the most simple variation. So let's use the medicine ball on this one. So what this is sitting in a cross-leg position, being able to stand up and down. Now that's difficult for people in the beginning. It was difficult for me in the beginning. So you start on a raised surface. So as I do this cross-leg position, I'll start from standing. I'll cross my legs. You can see I'm squatting down, and I come to the platform. And I'm still in cross-leg position. You can plant your feet. You're going to stand up, and then all I'm going to do is just turn all the way around and have the other leg in front. So you can see left leg's in front. That points across this way. That's the way I turn. I turn all the way around. Now my right leg's in front. Cross-leg position. Sit all the way down. Stand all the way up. Pretty easy. And you can do multiple reps of that. So start with whatever height platform you need, and eventually lower, 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 till you get to the floor. As I'm moving to the floor, same thing. Down, 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 legs start to come apart, sit all the way down. You'll start on the outside edges of the feet, and then eventually, as soon as you get the platform, or as soon as you get the hips raised up, you can plant the bottoms of the feet, do so. So outside edges start, so I plant, turn all the way around, other legs in front, I'll sit all the way down. Again, outside edges in the beginning, then you plant, turn all the way around, and so forth. All right, so rock up to squat, that's what you're working toward. Cross-leg position, standing up and down, both sides. That's the second exercise. Third exercise, and again, you would use this as a starter, some sort of platform to put your hands on. So this is the Cossack Squat. So the Cossack Squat, I have my feet nice and wide. You can see how my toes are turned out like at a 45-degree angle. So I'd start with my hands on a raised platform to sort of assist me as I come down. And you can see as you come down, this is what is typically you're gonna face, is your heel is gonna be off the floor. There's nothing wrong with this. What this is a tightness, not necessarily in this side, but in the straight leg side. To get the heel toward the floor, I have to extend out more through the straight leg. You see how my toes are pointed up? The stretch is in the hamstring and then the groin of the left leg. The more I extend out through this leg, eventually the heel comes down. When I'm tight in this leg, this knee is pushed way out over this foot, so much so there's no way the heel will ever come down on this side. This is the side to address, here. And you can start with the hands here on the platform just to help you. If I was going to shift to the other side, I could push off that platform. It's a lot easier. And again, I want to squat all the way down. Get to where you feel full range through the joints. See how the hamstring's connected to the calf. This is really the most important part. Heel down will come eventually. As I extend out more through the right leg, then the heel comes down. Eventually, you don't need the platform. Once the heel's down, I can move without it. Even with the heel up, you can substitute the platform for just hands on the floor, shifting. And I'll do a little pause at my end range and stretch, take a couple breaths, and shift as I'm more open. Now I have my heel down, same thing. Shift, side to side. Eventually you don't need the hands, and you're gonna shift side to side. You can see I'm not standing all the way up. I'm just keeping the hips nice and low as I transition from side to side. And then the final level would be to sit all the way to the floor between reps and even take the weight off the bent leg. I'll fold it in, taking all the weight off. I'll bring it back up, stand, shift, sit all the way down, take the weight off, put the weight back on, and shift back and forth. Now, how can I kind of incorporate all these together? Remember the first one? Final level would be coming into a squat. Hold your end range. And you could just sit, cross leg, stand up, turn around, sit, and on the other side, sit, spread the legs. Right side, I can come right from a standing position, up, sit, put the weight on. And then we back to the first move. So at the end of this, when I've done these movements, come back to the warm-up. It's the same for a cool down. So at the end, what did I do first? Cat-cow, some movements through the spine. This is the way I would cool down the same way. Deep breaths. Move into your lunges, nice and deep. As long as the heel's planted, this knee can keep coming forward. If I'm far forward to where this is connected, then I should move the foot forward. Challenge me more. And last, thighs together, rounded hips. Head down, deep breaths. Child's pose. All right, quick, easy, lower body mobility. Thanks.